Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. What we're here to do is discuss the status of contract negotiations and the outcome of the vote regarding Teamsters Local 320's contract negotiations with the State of Minnesota Board of Public Defense. My name is Brian Aldies, and I am the Secretary Treasurer and Principal Officer of Teamsters Local 320. Teamsters Local 320 represents approximately 10,000 public employees across the state of Minnesota. Of those 10,000 public employees represented by Teamsters Local 320, 650 plus come out of the Public Defender's Office in the state of Minnesota in two separate collective bargaining units. One bargaining unit, which has roughly 470 people, is the attorneys. They're assistant district public defenders in all 10 judicial districts, and then the assistant district public defenders in the appellate office in St. Paul, Minnesota. The other bargaining unit is the public defender support staff bargaining unit. We represent roughly 200 people in that particular bargaining unit. They are dispositional advisors, investigators, legal office assistants, paralegals, and IT personnel, all in the 10 judicial districts, as well as the appellate office. I personally have been involved in public defense contract negotiations beginning back in 1999 when Teamsters Local 320 organized the State Board of Public Defense employees. Currently, we have been in negotiations since June of 2021, attempting to bargain a successor agreement. We have been in mediation since October of 2021. Negotiations has stalled. The employer has refused to appropriately address specific issues related to the terms and conditions of employment, specifically work-life balance and safety issues. In fact, we have seen the state public defender, Bill Ward, respond publicly regarding economics only related to our collective bargaining, not the current contract negotiations that he is responsible for. The employer has refused to engage its workforce and provide leadership in what the future of their work looks like post-pandemic. The employer has refused to bargain significant changes to remote work opportunities, workplace safety language related to emergencies and pandemics, seniority language, changes to overworked part-time public defenders, and a wage opener for a successor agreement. Caseloads are incredibly high in public defense. This goes back to part-time public defenders. Half and three-quarter time public defenders average 500 hours a year more than they are contracted to perform. What does that mean? That means that they are working 500 additional hours per year that they are not compensated for. Compounding the problem in our negotiations with the State Board of Public Defense, the employer has refused to engage in meaningful dialogue at the bargaining table so that we're better able to understand their position, and it prevents them from understanding what the unions and its workforces ideas mean for them. Therefore, Teamsters Local 320 Public Defense members have overwhelmingly rejected a last best final offer from the employer and to authorize a strike. Today, I couldn't be more proud of our membership for standing up to stop the abuse. We will file our intent to strike today with the State of Minnesota Bureau of Mediation Services. We will then enter into a 10-day cooling off period. During that 10-day cooling off period, the State Bureau of Mediation Services will order both parties back to the bargaining table for facilitated mediation. It is our goal to reach a tentative agreement with the employer, an agreement that both parties can ratify and avoid a work stoppage. Today, I have with us Jill Nitke, an investigator in the 10th Judicial District. To my right, Ginny Barron, who's a full-time public defender in the 5th Judicial District. Next to Ginny is Kyle MacArthur, an investigator in the 5th Judicial District. Gus Fromke is next to Kyle. Gus Fromke is the local union's communications director and co-chair of the public defender bargaining on the union's negotiating committee. We also have with us, joining us remotely, is Anne.Marcotte. Anne.Marcotte is a part-time public defender in the 9th Judicial District. And we also have joining us today, Teamsters Local 320's General Counsel from Kelly and Lemons, Kevin Beck. And now what I'm going to do is go ahead and have some of our visitors today from the Board of Public Defense provide some commentary on the current situation. So we'll start with my left, Jill Nitke, an investigator from the 10th Judicial District.
Hello, my name is Jill Nitke. I've been with this agency for 34 years. I started as a legal office assistant, and since 2005, I've been an investigator with the 10th Judicial District. This job is not for the faint of heart. It is both tough and trying. We all suffer from secondhand trauma. We deal with people when they are at their rock bottom, mostly due to mental health and chemical dependency. We strive to help our clients become sober and productive members of the society. I have never looked at this job as a job. This is a calling. It is a true struggle to keep a work-home life balance, as we can't just turn off the job at the end of the day. I voted to reject this last and final offer because it did not address remote work, health and safety language, and did not provide a wage opener. These issues are critical to helping us retain strong, qualified staff and ensuring we have a sufficient level of public defense employees to handle the extreme caseloads we are currently facing. Since the height of the pandemic, public defense employees have worked remotely on a hybrid or rotation balance with no complaints. In negotiations, we put forth language to provide continuity for this practice with firm safeguards and clear oversight to ensure high standards and continued productivity. The Board of Public Defense would not entertain a discussion over remote work as a term and condition of employment. Instead, they simply ignored us. Minnesota's two largest counties, Hennepin and Ramsey, paid its employees stipends to work remotely and embraced flexible work-life balance for its workforce. We deserve that. We can no longer take pride in our work when our leadership disrespects us at every turn. And let me be perfectly clear. This doesn't just hurt public defense employees, it hurts our clients. Indigent defendants across Minnesota who are in desperate need of our legal representation. When board leadership fails to offer competitive pay, benefits, and flexibility on the job, it directly impacts our ability to retain highly qualified attorneys and certainly support staff. That's why we're facing unprecedented staff turnover and vacancy rates right now, and struggling to ensure adequate legal representation for our clients who deserve nothing but the best from us. Our clients are suffering, and the board needs to return to the bargaining table with us and negotiate in good faith so that we can resolve these issues and continue with this work. Thank you.
Anne.Marcotte, would you like to make a statement?
I would, Brian. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. My name is Anne.Marcotte, and I am a 3/4 time public defender in the 9th Judicial District. I have been an employee of the state of Minnesota Board of Defense for over 20 years. This is my first year representing my fellow public defenders as a union steward, and because the Board of Public Defense has refused to address part-time issues, combined with their refusal to accept a wage opener language, I, along with my colleagues, have voted to reject their last best final offer. We need to return to the bargaining table to address the added language and the economic concerns of the members. It is critical to ensuring that we retain highly qualified public defender employees who are leaving the agency at extreme rates and adequately support our clients. 37% of all public defenders are part-timers. Part-timers maintain their own office, staff, equipment, phone systems, and are completely separate from full-time offices. We are an intricate part of the public defender system and should be recognized as such. However, to date, the Minnesota Board of Public Defense has refused to address part-time issues in contract negotiations or even acknowledge that there are issues. Being a part-time attorney enables an attorney to also handle private cases, which carry the expenses of our offices and in turn subsidize the Board of Public Defense expenses. Documents requested from the Board of Public Defense confirmed that on average, part-time public defenders work 500 to 1,000 hours over their contracted hours per year, uncompensated. This places undue time constraints on the part-time attorneys to pay their staff by maintaining a private caseload, which in fact keeps their doors open. This expectation is simply unsustainable and has undoubtedly increased turnover throughout the state, which then places greater stress on the remaining attorneys as the caseloads of those leaving are simply redistributed to us. It should be acknowledged that public defenders are attorneys at law. We hold the same licensure as other attorneys in the state. However, we are compensated at a rate that is far less than private attorneys, prosecuting attorneys, or other state attorneys such as the Attorney General's office. These low wages and harsh working conditions are driving staff turnover and vacancy rates across the state. Without addressing these issues, we simply cannot do our jobs to the best of our abilities. That is why it is vital that the Board of Public Defense agree to a wage opener and the capacity issues we're raising with the support of our legislators. We are hopeful that our expectation to obtain parity will be addressed by the Board of Public Defense. Thank you.
Annie, thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to Ginny Barron to make a statement.
Hi, my name is Ginny Barron, and I am a public defender in the 5th District. I've been with the agency for approximately 10 years, both as a full-time attorney as well as a part-time attorney. I've said this before, and I will say it again. My heart resides in public defense. This job is important to me because I know from firsthand experience just how life-changing it is to have a fierce advocate in your corner. I also know that our criminal justice system as a whole is only as strong as its weakest link. And right now, that weakest link is the public defense system. Being a good public servant should not mean having to sacrifice your quality of life with crushing workloads, unsustainable work-life imbalance, and shockingly large pay disparities between employees of the Board of Public Defense in comparison to other public servants within our field. Being a public servant should not mean giving up the ability to be treated as professionals. When we entered this contract negotiation cycle almost 9 months ago, approximately 37% of public defender assistant public defenders were part-time attorneys who have always had the ability to work remotely. Yet despite this, the board has refused to even engage in discussion regarding remote work options for the other approximately 63% of frontline assistant public defenders. Nor has the board been willing to transparently show us their itemized budget, meaningfully address the pay disparities, or discuss the crushing caseloads in need for a competitive pay scale. These issues have spiked turnover and vacancy rates all across Minnesota, have stunted employee morale, and ultimately are hurting our clients. When we're dealing with extreme caseloads and there aren't enough attorneys to take over the work, it is our indigent clients who are overwhelmingly people of color and residing in low-income communities who are looking at facing deprivation of legal representation. That's why I'm asking the Board of Public Defense to meaningfully engage with us on these contract issues. I genuinely don't understand why we're having to fight so hard against our own agency for such common sense things. I voted not to accept the board's last best and final offer and authorize a strike because our clients don't have a voice to advocate for these things and the changes that we need to see. Our clients deserve better, and the vote today is clear. Our employees believe they deserve better too. I don't want to see this turn into a strike. By voting to reject the last best and final offer, we are sending a clear message that we want to get back to the mediation table and work out a contract that will benefit both the clients who must blindly depend on us and the public servants who help them. We are in the business of affecting people's lives, and there is not a single colleague of mine or Teamster member who doesn't know this. I remain hopeful that we can roll up our sleeves at the mediation table and finally get this contract cycle resolved with a way that allows both of us to lift this agency up together. Thank you.
Jenny, thank you. Kyle MacArthur.
My name is Kyle MacArthur. I have been a public defender investigator for going on 15 years. There are many reasons I do this work. One of the other reasons is because I'm a veteran, and I once took an oath to defend this Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And what's important about that is that this is something public defense does every day. This strike authorization is about respect and dignity and the aspiration to move forward together rather than watching our management play games, delay decisions, and walk away from the bargaining table in good faith. To support our clients is what is needed. They rely on us for legal support, and we have to be in this together. And that means the board needs to return to the bargaining table to finish the job. I have no desire to strike. My members have no desire to strike. We want to do our job to the best of our ability. Unfortunately, we can't do that when we don't have fair pay and our working conditions do not allow us to retain our fantastic attorneys and support staff. Right now, we're facing extreme caseloads and high employee turnover, and we lack time needed to properly attend to each one of our clients. The current system is failing us, and it's failing those most in need. For a state that is actively trying to reform its criminal justice system, this is a good place to start. We need funding, and we need the Board of Public Defense to treat its employees properly. We cannot afford to wait. Thank you very much.
Kyle, thank you. I think now if there are members of the press that have questions, we can open it up for questions. And questions can be delivered one of two ways. You could raise your virtual hand or put a question in the chat.
Hi, my name is Max Nestrak. I'm with Minnesota Reformer. I have a question.
Sure.
What work will, if there's a strike, what work will attorneys continue to do? I've heard they'll still go to bail hearings. Is there work that attorneys on strike would continue to do?
You know, our understanding is that the public defenders have the right to strike under the Public Employee Labor Relations Act. So I don't know that they're required to continue to go to court. We have informed the judges and the courts that there may be a public defender strike and that they should plan accordingly.
Kevin Beck, can you maybe weigh in a little bit on the ethical aspects of a potential strike?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thanks, Gus. We asked the Board of Lawyers' Professional Responsibility for an ethics opinion on a strike. They reconfirmed our ability, or the public defender's ability, to strike under PELRA. but would not give us a blanket opinion. They effectively said it would be a case-by-case analysis dependent upon each individual case and the public offenders and where they're kind of at. So to kind of answer your question, it will, our position as a union is that the public defenders, the attorney unit has the right to strike, and those decisions will have to be made in light of their individual case load and where it's at. But on a broader kind of level, legally our position is that the chief district public defender is actually the attorney who is appointed to the case. And so if an assistant public defender is unable or is on strike and unwilling to work during that strike, then it would be incumbent upon the chief of the district to cover that calendar.
Thank you, Kevin. Matt Sepik.
Hi there, Matt Sepik from NPR News. First of all, if at some point everybody could spell their name so I have that correct, because I'm not sure that I got everybody's spelling of the people who spoke earlier. My main question, though, is whether you have heard about any sort of plans from the judicial branch or any of the district courts as to how they might continue operations in the event of a strike. I have those questions out to them. I have yet to hear anything. I'm wondering if you have heard anything about contingency plans on the part of the court system.
We have not heard anything regarding contingency plans through the courts. The spelling of my name is Brian. Last name Aldings, Aldes. Jill.
First name is Jill, like Jack and Jill, Jill. Last name is Nitke, N like Nancy, IT like Tom, KE.
Ginny Barron, Ginny, last name Barron.
My name is Kyle, Kyle, last name MacArthur, MAC, capital ARTHUR.
Gus.
Gus Fromke, GUSFROEMKE. I just want everyone to know that the news release is going out to each one of you today. Actually, it's in the process of going out now. That will also have a spelling of our name.
And Kevin Beck and Anne.Marcotte, their names are spelled correctly on the screens. And I did see that we have some questions in the chat. And Gus, if you want to pop those up, I can go ahead and address the questions. We got a question. Bill Ward says the most recent offer means raises of about 10 to 12% for those not at the top of the pay scale. Why was the last offer insufficient? Can you describe what numbers you are looking for, either in terms of salary and or staffing? You know, it's a combination of salary and staffing. This is, you know, we have obviously we have a strong desire that the Board of Public Defense be fully staffed and that their employees have pay parity with the other large public law firms like the Attorney General's Office, Hennepin County, Ramsey County. A couple other examples could be St. Louis County or Blue Earth County for that matter. But, you know, is the economic offer insufficient? The answer comes in two parts. One, the economic offer is insufficient because it does not give the union an opportunity to appropriately address wages in a wage opener in the event that the legislature allocates additional fund increases to the Board of Public Defense. We're not disputing that there could be 10 to 12% pay increases for those who are not at the top of the salary scale.
Yeah, I would just like to add procedurally that the Board of Public Defense provided the Union Bargaining Committee a last final offer. That meant they're done negotiating language items. So we had to take a vote whether to accept or reject and strike. The majority have rejected the last and final offer. Now with the last and final offer, we were unable to negotiate additional items that would affect the fiscal year 2023. We all know that there's a large surplus from the state of Minnesota, and we are hearing from some of our friends at the legislature that they want to put more money into public defense. What the Board of Public Defense did as an employer was provide us with a last and final offer that did not have a wage opener for fiscal year 2023. Therefore, we had no legal standing to negotiate additional dollars from the legislature should those dollars be appropriated to the Board of Public Defense. Now, the Board of Public Defense will say that they are making a promise that they will negotiate future funds with us, but there is no legal standing for us to do so based on the current last and final offer.
And that's correct. There was another question below.
Can I make a comment to that? May I make a comment to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So as it relates to Mr. Ward's comments, I would indicate that the attorneys, as part of the last best and final offer, were given the option of a step and a 2.5% cost of living adjustment increase each year. And even in taking those two things in account, the pay disparities between what assistant public defenders make in comparison to our other public servant counterparts still falls within a range easily of sometimes between $10,000 and $25,000 for somebody at the same level as where a public defender would be. And we know from running the numbers that their budget can support a higher cost of living adjustment for attorneys. And so absent seeing an itemized budget from them indicating otherwise, it is our belief that they can support that additional amounts for attorneys, and that in order to address pay disparities, it should be allocated.
Thank you, Jenny. We have a question. Are you optimistic about the possibility of reaching an agreement with the Board of Public Defense during the mediation period? Absolutely. You know, I've been doing this for 23 years. I always remain optimistic that we're going to be able to reach an agreement between the two parties. We are ready to go to work, and we look forward to it.
May I add something? Okay. The board gave us, the support staff, a last best final offer. That means take it or leave it. They played hardball, not us. They walked away from the table. And I can say this, they said take it or leave it, and our members left it. We want to get back to the table.